welcome to this week's video. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things. And I know, you're probably thinking, like, Andy, you don't look like really made up like you normally do for sit-down videos. That's because this week's video is a 24-hour reading thing. What am I going to be reading this month? Well, unfortunately, that's going to be the 50 Shades of Grey series. If you watched my TBR for the month, then you will know that I did read the 50 Shades of Grey series as a wee little teenager at 17, and I really enjoyed them, but I also can fully own and understand that that was the first representation of kink that I ever read, and it was also the first non-Christian smut that I ever read in my whole entire life. I do think now, as an adult, with way more awareness of the world and considerably less sheltered than I was at 17, I think that I will probably have a very different opinion than I did. I do also want to say that the day I'm starting this reread is really funny. Okay, history lesson. Are you ready? Also, if you're going to be sensitive about 9/11, this will offend you. I am warning you now. But if you want a history lesson, here it is. So, 9/11 occurred. My Chemical Romance was created by Gerard Way due to the trauma of 9/11 happening. Twilight was then made later as essentially self-insert fan fiction by Stephanie Meyer, basing Edward off of Gerard Way. Keep following. Then 50 Shades of Grey was created as self-insert fan fiction of Twilight, making Edward Christian Grey. What does that mean for everyone? It means that 9/11 caused 50 Shades of Grey to happen, and I'm starting this video on 9/11. This was not planned at all. Totally forgot that until I was like writing down the dates and my planned reading for all of this, so yay. I was going to find the audiobooks on my library card and try to listen to the books and add alternate between listening and reading at the same time, like reading with my eyes, but they are either on hold or they don't exist at the library, so that's cool. So I guess I really must suffer by just reading these books. I do own them digitally on my iPad. I own them on Apple Books because I own several books on Apple Books from when I initially got back into reading for about a year, and then didn't read again until 2019. I have written down on a note card my expected reading times for this. I also, instead of using the timer app on my phone, I'm going to be using the Forest app because I do have like a lifetime subscription to that. I've had it for years and years and years, and I don't use it, and I can do things by tag, so I will be using that instead. It does things more as a countdown rather than a timer, but I think that I can I might can do it as a timer actually also, but I think that that will allow me to tag the book times appropriately and see the time, and I also think it will be fun to have like a forest for this. I think that would be silly, so here we are with that. So I am going to start this video soon. I do have a meeting soon, so I'm going to have to do that first, but then after that meeting I'm probably going to read a little bit on my break, but my expected time total for this entire process is just going to be 8 hours and 30 minutes. However, the ebooks, Apple Books does not have a dyslexia font, so I guess I'm just going to suffer. I don't know, but I do struggle a little bit digital reading without the dyslexia font. Yikes. I might get the ebook from the library because the ebook's actually at the library and have it sent to my Kindle. That is my other option because I just don't know if I can do digital reading without the dyslexia font. I don't know. But that is currently my expectation. The total time for 50 Shades of Grey I think is going to take me about 2 hours and 30 minutes, and that is an over-exaggeration because it is only 321 pages. So I feel like I probably can read it a little bit faster than that, but 2 hours and 30 minutes. For 50 Shades Darker, it's another 2 hours and 30 minutes because it's 338 pages, so that's only a few extra pages, 10 or so, not even 15 extra pages, 15, 16 extra pages, whatever. And then for 50 Shades Freed, for whatever reason I put 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is a bit of an, that's a bit of a jump because it's only 367 pages, and I think that it would take considerably less time than that, but I don't know. But that's what we're doing this week. I hope that you enjoyed this video and stick around for my suffering. This is gonna go like all of my other videos where I'm gonna read a little bit, update you guys as I keep reading, and give you the time and all of that as I go. So I will, I'll check back in shortly, I guess. Okay, thanks, bye. So, I am going to make dinner and start reading. I need to add it to the book tracker, and then I'll be good to go. I did try to read it a little bit after that meeting, and it was a bad start. I got like I just wanted to like see if the lack of dyslexia bot would be fine. It's not. But we'll get through it. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out. But I did read the first chapter at the very least. I didn't time it or anything. I just wanted to see like how I felt like that was gonna go. No, y'all, it's bad. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And also, the main character is already irritating me, and we are like 17 pages in, so that's cool. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But yeah, I'm gonna start dinner and I'm gonna read while I'm cooking. So I'll talk to you guys. I'll check back in a little bit. All right, we're gonna for real start reading it this time, I promise. I regret this already. I've been reading for about 27 minutes-ish. I'm only on page 45, chapter 5. Obviously I need to read about 100 more pages and some change before I can continue, but I decided upon noticing how many times she says crap, which I haven't heard that exclaimed in a really long time. And I really don't think I heard a single 21-year-old say it at all the whole time I was 21. But as of chapter 5, page 45, she has said crap 15 times. She said holy cow 3 times, holy hell once, and holy shit 3 times. And I'm just gonna keep counting every time she says a stupid curse word, because I'm really curious about how many times. I'm curious, I wanna know. My other notes that I have is that Christian Grey is only 27. I'm 28, and I've actually never met a 27-year-old who's that serious, like not once in my whole life. Maybe 40-year-olds, definitely not people under the age of 30. He's also, like, I know he has all this trauma and stuff. I know the backstory. I read it as a teenager. I also want to say that as of chapter 5, Anastasia, she's fucking obsessed with this man. It has been a week, maybe 2 weeks at this point. That's something else I should be tracking, is the time from when they met and how many days go by. I think I might go back and do some tracking on that because I've got some questions, some questions here. I know it's supposed to be like a whirlwind, but the speed at which things are happening is stressing me out. I feel like I need a seatbelt and a helmet, like a safety vest on at the speed at which we're going. Also, Anastasia, one, thinks she's ugly and she's not. Very, very much that character, which, like, I knew that, but I hate that. She also refers to her best friend Kate as Catherine Kavanaugh, like by her full name, a lot. I almost wanted to add that to my counts of like stupid shit that Anna is saying repetitively. And if I literally just glanced at the first page of chapter 5 and I already see holy crap twice. Anyway, if she says Catherine Kavanaugh in some kind of like anywhere in chapter 5, I'm gonna add it to the count. So what I need to do is add timeline and Catherine Kavanaugh count. But that's where we're at. I'm probably gonna try and read another 50 pages before I like settle in for the night. I will obviously be reading up to the 50% that I had it planned, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm not having a good time as expected, but worse than expected. So, yep, yes. Okay, so I want to die. I am like, I'm 270 something pages in. 275, so we're almost done with the book. That's what's the percentage on that? 85% of the book. I'm almost done. At this current moment, this book started on May the 9th, right? It is now ish May the 31st, maybe June 1st. Now here's two things to note. She fucked up her dates here at some point. I don't know, we like have a Saturday happen twice, which is very confusing to me. So nope, I just did my calculations wrong. The 27th was their graduation, the 28th, I don't know, she still repeats Saturday twice, so that's just confusing. But anyway, so anyway, so we've known each other for less than a month now, let's recall, less than a month. As of 8 days of interacting with Gray in total, she decided to be his sub, and now she's seen him essentially every single day, more or less. So they still have less than 30 days together, total. Less than 30 days of knowing each other, total. In totality. I think that's very important to note. She has met all of his family. He's met all of hers. That's not moving fast at all. It's also scary to look at that calendar and it include my 16th birthday. On my 16th birthday, Anna Steele met Gray's parents. Cool. Anyway, some concerns that I have. He explicitly states, and this is where I'm going to get into a little bit of a kink conversation, so if that makes you uncomfortable, probably skip to my next update. But he specifically states that he is not interested in blood play, which is fine, totally fine, very normal. And he has this weird, like, he keeps doing things, like either when Anna is either on her period or like right after she lost her virginity, that implies that maybe that is not the case, and I think that that's fucking weird. It feels mildly like he's already breaking his rules. Also, as they're like discussing this contract, she asks for essentially more information and more understanding. She doesn't have great understanding, and he gets her tipsy to go over those things because, quote unquote, it's the only time that she's honest. And he outright admits that he did that on purpose, and that's a huge red flag to me. I feel like you should not have those conversations drunk. I also feel like if you cannot have them sober, you should not be having the relationship. He also at multiple times has pointed out that he knows that she doesn't know what she's getting herself into, and he likes that. He likes that he's the one who's introduced her to all of this. And I do understand the power dynamic in this kind of relationship specifically, and I do understand like the appeal, I guess. But in the specific dynamic, we've got a bit of an age gap. He frequently stalks her actively. He is actively stalking her. He's been tracking her phone. He gave her a new phone. He gave her a new car. He gave her a laptop, all of which he can use to track her after she's explicitly requested that he does not do these things, and he does them anyway. The safe word conversation was not really had. It talks about it in the contract, but I feel like they didn't discuss that in more intimate terms, and I feel like they should have, because she's not only uneducated about this entire topic, but she's also uneducated on sex as a whole, as he is the only person she's ever slept with, and that was, again, less than a month ago. So I have some concerns there. She has also said, quote unquote, I love this man, which happened probably on the 31st. But there are multiple times, because we're existing within Anna's internal psyche, where she is like pleading and begging and hoping that he does not punish her. And the way that she feels about it feels very abuse victim rather than someone who's consenting to this kind of punishment. And if you feel so afraid and that's not appealing to you in any way, I have some concerns about the dynamic of the relationship, most especially because he's made it very clear that this is the only kind of relationship he's interested in, but then will not stop pursuing her when she's not sure about it. And there's something about that that's really manipulative and gross to me. She's never had been in love. She's never really experienced love, and he's her first for everything, and he's kind of insistent that this is the only relationship style that I like, and either we're gonna have it or you're not gonna get to be with me, your first love. And yep, I took your virginity and I've done all these great things for you and I've bought you all of this stuff, and if you, before you even signed the contract, and if you're not into it, well, then you can't be with me. And there's something about that that's really abusive and manipulative, and I don't care for it. I think it's very fucked up. I think that this was written by somebody who's never actually been in this kind of dynamic or has ever discussed this kind of dynamic with anybody who exists within this kind of like subculture or has this dynamic. And I can see why at 16, 17, I thought this was a great book, but I can also see how it very blatantly shaped the fact that I was actively abused by a partner because of the way that kink was presented in this book. Those are my current thoughts. Also, my friends are like thrilled about this video, and I just want you all to know that I'm suffering, Landis. Specifically. I'm suffering. So I'm gonna go eat my lunch though. It sounds like it's done, but that's where I'm at. Also, I don't know what the time is for how long I've been reading. I finished the first book. 1-star read. Truly a 1-star read. What a whirlwind. I don't even really, I think I've said it all really in the first book. I'll probably include the counts and stuff like here of all the cursing because I thought it was funny, and I still think it's funny. But yeah, terrible book. Do not recommend. Not having a good time. Not excited about reading the next book. I have started the next book. I got 20-ish pages into it. We're already off to a rough start. They're already back together. It's been 5 days or something, so it's now like June 9th, so it's now been a month since they meet in book 1. So that's where we are. I'm in pain. I need to get 50% into this book today. I don't know if I will. I'm not having a good, that's it, I'm not having a good time. Oh, the total time read at the moment, hold on. It took me 2 hours and 30 minutes, which was in fact my predicted time. So I can assume that this second book will take about the same amount of time. So yay. All right. I'll talk to you guys later when I have a little bit more of an update on 50 Shades Darker, if I don't off myself first. Why do I do these things? Hello. Yeah, hi. So I am 50% into the second book, 50 Shades Darker. I've read for a total of 3 hours and 29 minutes, and I want to die. So they're currently on like week 2 of June, which now makes them about a month of knowing each other. Christian's now said I love you. She's gone to some gala thing. The plot of this book is that Christian's ex-sub, Leia, I think is her name, is like stalking him and Anna, whatever, and this book is so bad, y'all. It's just ridiculous. This book is just fucking ridiculous. Who has the... I would be so burnt out on all of this shit. I'll be like, why are we doing so many things? Oh, there's someone stalking us. Oh, I have to go to work. Oh, I have to go to this gala. Oh, and this is another funny thing. So Anna didn't get the job until like June-ish, early June, her new job at a publishing company called SIP, and Christian bought it. But the person who wrote this book has literally never worked a corporate job. You know how I know that? Because I know that those kind of mergers, those kind of purchases, they take a really long time. Ain't no fucking way. That makes exactly no sense that he would have already been able to purchase this. No amount of money, nothing, because there's so many legal things that have to happen that there's literally no way that that happened in this short amount of time. That makes no fucking sense. No research was done into this, and it's like a whole thing that he bought her work. Oh, and then there's like this subplot where Anna is rightfully very uncomfortable with the relationship that Christian had with this older woman when he was 15 through to the age of 21. And she's been very clear that she's like, I think this shit's creepy as fuck. And you know what? More credit to her on that one, because I agree. But another funny thing that keeps happening, she like at one point straight up goes, she like calls her mom for the first time in a long time, and her mom's like, oh, in a long time. It's been like less than a week. And her mom's like, oh, Bob, my husband, which isn't that the husband's name in Twilight, the stepdad? Anyway. Oh, Bob, my husband thinks that maybe we shouldn't have moved to Georgia and that we should move back to Las Vegas. And Anna straight up goes, oh, other people have problems too. Yes, stupid. What do you mean other people have problems too, you dumbass stupid bitch? And at one point, this book is so hard to read. At one point, Anna, during the breakup, right? They break up, runs off or whatever, and Christian is like, okay, like, I want this, and Anna's like, I was afraid you were gonna leave if I didn't do this relationship with you, but I can't do this relationship style with you. And Christian was like, let's try vanilla until you can learn how to communicate, and then maybe we can work our way back up to this where we can figure out, you know, better dynamics and stuff that work. And I'm like, bestie, that's what you should have started with. That's what you should have started with. She's literally a virgin. You don't just like take a virgin and go, anyway, I'm gonna tie you up to a fucking X thingy. I don't know. I'm getting a phone call. I'll come back to this. I'm in pain. They repeatedly recognize they don't fucking know each other, and then they're out here making life decisions together. I'm gonna kill myself. Not in the past. If she was in the past, she wouldn't keep coming up as a topic of conversation because she keeps being in the present. See how that works? That makes her not in the past. If you're still having conversations with that person, it makes them not in the past. While the romance may have been in the past, the relationship is not in the past because you're still talking. That's just how it works. This is the only thing that I agree with Anna on, and that's that this relationship's fucking weird, dude. What the fuck? Quit having a relationship with the person. Child. God damn it. I'm so stressed. I hate this book. This series. Oh great, we have another date. It's June 14th. Great, great. Why am I reading this fucking book? It's so bad. Okay, so there's so many things to say here. What did I say last time? Do we know that she's being stalked? Yes. Okay, we've talked about that. I also keep forgetting to mention that girly has like her inner goddess and her subconscious, and literally all I can think about is the Lizzie McGuire little person that pops up talking to Lizzie McGuire.
Here we go. Pep talk number 243 from the Mother-Daughter Handbook. It's not that what she's saying is so bad, it's just that I've heard it 17 times already today, which makes the whole thing even more pathetic than usual.
I heavily believe that the little inner goddess thing is inspired by that. I have no proof of this. This is just what I think. This is what I assume, right? At this current moment, it is June 14th, right? The book starts on June 7th. The series starts on May 9th, all in 2009. Are you keeping up? Because I barely am. So it's been 7 days in the book. Within that time span, they've gone on vacation. Was that this book? They've gone on vacation to Georgia. He's essentially asked her to move in. He somehow bought the company that she works for. Her best friend Kate has been on vacation this whole time, conveniently. I don't know if it's just because the author like forgot that there's another character in the series, and she's literally dating Christian Grey's brother, or if that character's just like there for convenience. I don't know. They've gone to a gala since then. She's met his therapist, which is like a weird breach of That's weird. I don't like that. That's strange. Not my favorite. Also hung out with the sibling. She's gotten a haircut since then. She and the child lady, I'm gonna have to censor that word out. They've talked kind of already. That happened on the 13th of this book. It's shortly after the gala. Not sure how many days because I stopped keeping that much track because it was hurting my head. Because the way that time works in this book is just like, I don't know how they have 30 hours in a day and yet somehow they do. It's really incredible, honestly. So as of the 14th, Leia, whatever the fuck, has shown up in Anna's apartment. And Ethan, Kate's brother, is also like there. He's downstairs though because security got involved, obviously. And Leia, whatever, had a gun. Very stressful, right? Very intense scene. And homegirl is broken. She's very psychologically unwell. Now, I will give Christian the credit that he owns that she's very psychologically unwell and does not want to get the police involved specifically because of that. However, his behavior around Anna is like a little bit extra overprotective. So like, he bought the company she works for, right? And her boss is a little bit of a creep. He kind of wants to fuck Anna, and you can tell. And he invited Anna possibly to go to this conference in New York, which would have very much helped Anna's career. And Christian, because he owns the company, somehow was magically able to stop all travel expenses, or like limit them so that only the guy could go and not Anna, even though Anna directly said, hey, don't get involved in this. Like, I'm begging you not to get involved in this. And previously, he straight up said he wasn't going to get involved in her work stuff, and then he did. Crazy. So I don't love that. Then the Elena thing, the like child lady thing, like keeps coming up and it's an issue. And I actually think Anna's right for this one. And Christian is like, no, she helped me. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You do not put a 15-year-old in a BDSM style relationship when you are an adult married woman. That's weird. That I don't care how much he needed it and he thinks it helped him. Therapy would have helped great. Then he makes this other statement and like, roll the clip. Make it stop. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this so bad. Why? So that was said, and I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I don't even know how to process that. I don't even know how to get there with that. And Leia also, like, again, the gun thing or whatever, and Christian gets involved, sends Anna away, Anna gets drunk, and then Christian is like, yeah, I bathed her and then sent her to a psychiatric ward because she was very, very broken. It was like caring for a child. And Anna has this like incredible ability to make everything about herself, like literally everything about herself. It's incredible to me, her ability to make everything about herself. But that's where we currently are. Oh, and Christian Grey proposed to her. He proposed to her. She said, no, not right now, because I hardly know you, which I'm glad that she did, because it has in fact been barely over a month since they met. So I'm super glad that she clarified that she does recognize that she barely knows him. So yeah, yep, there's that. So that's what's going on right now. Oh, and she's like super mad that Christian Grey literally like cared for this individual who's very, very broken and clearly needs help, and he like actually wanted to provide her the help, and so he did a really kind thing. Do I think as a partner that I would have been empathetic towards the situation? No, I know myself and I'm crazy. But do I think that I could have recognized that caring for that individual because she needed help was a necessity, and that I can put myself to the side for a little bit and recognize that there was nothing sexual, romantic, nothing that had to do with me? Like, do I think I could have done that? Yes, fully. I absolutely believe that, and I'm not that empathetic of a human being. I genuinely believe that I could have just set my feelings aside about the matter, like my insecurities to the side, and recognized that this individual needed help. And that my partner, during this person's very clear psychotic break, is the only person that she was going to listen to and the only person that could have helped her. So I personally could have set my feelings aside. I'm also 7 years older than her. So, you know, maybe that's that. The timeline of this is crazy. This book is crazy. I'm hoping I finish it today because I need to get 50% into the next book, but I have to go do my piano lessons. So we'll see. I'm on page 196, almost 200 pages. My timer thingy thinks I should be able to finish it in 48 minutes because I'm 63% into the book. I also believe I can probably finish it in 48 minutes, but I have to like hustle down and read. So I'm gonna do my piano lessons, and then if I have some extra time after that, I'll probably read a little bit more. I will update you guys on how that goes. I am almost fucking done though. This at this point means I am like halfway through reading all of these, because there's 3 books and I'm halfway through the second book, which means I am almost done with the whole thing. Thank God, because this is so bad. This is a horrible time. I'm having a horrible time. I finished 50 Shades Darker. It took a total of 2 hours and 10 minutes, so a little bit less than the expected time. It was incredibly bad. So I feel like I kind of went over it already, but the gist of what's happened that you really need to know about is that Anna's boss, Jack, tried to essentially assault her, and Christian got him fired and she got promoted, not necessarily because of Christian. He was even surprised that she got promoted, but she did. And then at the end of the book, Jack is like gonna seek revenge because he's like got his career ruined because he's a terrible person. Also, Christian almost dies and then proposes to Anna, and Anna also, like, Anna says yes. Christian has a birthday, so I think that makes him, what, 26, 27? 27 now? 27, 28? Gray's only 27, so he just turned 28. He's Cancer. That's... So for the timeline, for those of you following along here, also, I'm probably going to put the curse count here. Y'all don't really need to worry about it, except for the fact that she said holy shit 134 times in this book. Right. So, for the book timeline, for the second book, the second book starts on June 7th and ends on June 18th at Gray's birthday party. Maybe 19th, but probably on the 18th, that Saturday night. So the whole book is across 2 weeks-ish and some change, 2 weeks and some change. And the whole series thus far has been a little over a month and like a week and a half. So we'll say 6 weeks. We'll say so far 6 weeks have passed in this entire book set. And they have met, taken her virginity, agreed to do BDSM, broken up, disagreed to do BDSM, got stalked, went to galas, got assaulted, had a huge fallout with child molester lady. That happened finally, so that's finally done. Got a job, graduated college, got a job, got promoted, all in the span of this 6 weeks. Crazy, I know. Bought a company in the span of the 6 weeks. That's not how that works. What else? Oh, and then got engaged in the span of 6 weeks. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna start the next book. I'm not looking forward to it. I've got some work things that I need to do, and I need to do laundry real quick, but once I fold my clothes and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and do start the very last book. So fucking finally, I'm almost done. I'm almost home free from this fucking book series. You felt this way before he even was getting actively stalked. It's Friday. I more or less took a break yesterday, so I didn't update yesterday because I needed to take a break from these godforsaken books. So I read like 98 pages and then I was like, I have to take a break. I'm gonna pause right here. I need to pause all my trackers and shit because I have to talk about this real quick. First off, timeline wise, I found a timeline online so I can stop keeping track of it, because it was hurting my head to try and read and also keep track of time. Like, I have no concept of time. So, for concept, 50 Shades Darker ended on June the 18th. 50 Shades Free starts like a mix of like June the 19th and then continues July 29th or July 31st, which is like the weekend of the wedding. And then continues like August 1st through August 21st, which is when they have their honeymoon, which I'm kind of past the honeymoon at this point. and I'm currently at, 8/25, so August 25th. So at this point, it has been May, June, July, August, 4 months since they've met. First off, at one point, as you saw probably in my reading, Anna is crying after sex because she's like, sometimes I'm just so overwhelmed by how much I love you. Now, to be fair, I've personally experienced that, being so overwhelmed by how much I love someone. And that is with my partner of 7 years. 8 years. 8 years. Not somebody I've known for 4 months. Don't get me wrong. Would I have married my current husband? Only husband. My husband, if 4 months into our relationship? Yeah, probably. But if all of this was going on? No. No, absolutely not. And when we met, I was younger than Anna currently is, so. But we're also at a point, so basically Jack Hyde from the previous book, Anna's former boss who essentially assaulted her, or tried to, and blackmail her, he's now stalking them. And prior to this, obviously Christian Grey has a lot of control issues, and he has submissives just so that he can control partners. He's actually an abuser as far as I'm concerned. His rhetoric is abusive. His mindset around sex and control and ownership is abusive. It goes beyond kink. It goes beyond a dom-sub dynamic. It goes beyond all of that and breaches very heavily into abuse, especially in his relationship with Anna, because they specifically do not have that dynamic. They repeatedly mention, you're not my sub, we don't have that dynamic, whatever, whatever. And then he continues to treat her like a fucking sub and being mad at her when she doesn't act like one because she's not one, and then essentially abusing her. At one point, what just happened and what has caused me to have to completely stop reading to update you all is that she wanted to go out with her literal best friend during all of this with 3 bodyguards, wanted to go out for a quick drink and then have a quiet night in the apartment. And she goes, and he tells her, no, don't do that. She does it anyway because she's a fucking adult woman, and I think that she should get to do that. Especially with 3 bodyguards. I know she's being stalked, but honestly and high key, she would be safer in a public location than she would be in her private home, which is emphasized by the fact that when she gets home, Jack is in the house and they apprehend him. If she had been home and he had snuck in and nobody had noticed in time, what would have happened to her? What would have happened to her? Huh? Okay, so then and this whole time Christian Grey's on a work trip, and so now he's back, and he's giving her these one-word syllable answers because he's mad at her for having gone out. But if she had not gone out, what would have happened to her? And then he says, I want to punish you, he whispers. Really beat the shit out of you, he adds. Okay. My heart leaps into my mouth. Fuck. I know, I whisper as my scalp prickles. Maybe I will. She does not consent to this kind of relationship. She's made it very clear she doesn't consent to this kind of relationship. And while he's working on things and should fire his therapist, she's very clearly scared to death of him being angry at her because of the actions he might take against her. That's abuse. And for him to just say, maybe I will. Maybe I will ignore that you don't consent to these things. Maybe I will ignore your hard limit of not wanting me to beat the fuck out of you. Maybe I will ignore all of those things because you didn't listen to me this one time and it actually saved you and I'm too angry to think about things logically. No, if a man said that shit, divorce. You need to leave. This is an abusive relationship glorified as a romantic erotic novel, and it is fucking batshit insane to me. The other thing is, how the fuck did they make movies out of these books that have little to no plot? I understand that this is supposed to be erotica, I get that. And so I'm reading it for the plot. I'm quite literally reading it for the plot because I'm trying to understand how they fucking made movies out of this shit. Currently, I do not understand. They basically, made a movie out of an abusive, narcissistic asshole that needs a better therapist because his fucking sucks, or he just needs to go to jail because, what the fuck? And then a virgin who literally gets completely taken advantage of by some rich guy who has a complete power play dynamic that she doesn't understand, and then is in this abusive marriage? Yeah, alright, cool. Let's make a movie out of that shit. I am so angry for past me who loved these books. I'm like genuinely angry for 17-year-old me because I should have never been allowed to access these books, read these. Like, I am not pro book banning. I think that teenagers should be allowed to seek out content, but because this was the first smut that I ever read outside of Christian books, this is the first inappropriate books I ever read. This was also the first books I ever read with this kind of dynamic. It shaped a lot of things that I had to unshape later on in therapy. It showed this incredibly abusive, incredibly toxic, very bad relationship as romantic and erotic and okay. And it's absolutely fucking not. Leave someone who says, I want to beat the fuck out of you, knowing that that's not for you, knowing that you don't like that. You need to leave. You need to leave because you're scared of him. I don't care if you think you can fix him. I don't care if you think that you can fix the problem with enough patience and love. I don't care. He has all the money in the world, so he should have already done the work. More of the work, because the work he's doing right now isn't it? And his therapist should not encourage this behavior whatsoever. Whatsoever. Holy shit. If a therapist heard that you told your spouse who does not consent to this kind of relationship, I want to beat the fuck out of you, and says, yeah, you're working through it. No. No. You do not, I'm so fucking mad now. Especially because I know there's something that happens in this book that's going to make me even angrier. I'm so fucking mad. I just want to be done with this, so I'm going to finish this book today. But, like, I am fucking livid right now. So, yep. Don't ask me how, but this has gotten worse. So I'm now 51% of the book, but what happens is, so there's this notorious scene that gets misconstrued a lot when people are talking about these books in a negative light, and so I'm going to talk about it in the light of like what actually happens and within the context of what has happened in the book. I feel like this one passage gets talked about without actually taking into consideration all of the things that happen in the book. I also want to preface the fact that this is not a good scene. This is a really bad scene, and it also just further shows the way that the writer did not educate herself on BDSM, and the writer did not understand how BDSM should work, and that this is not a healthy, consensual, and acceptable BDSM relationship. I think all of that is really important to note, so I have noted it. Okay, moving on. They decide to go into the playroom and have a denial situation, although she doesn't know that's what's happening. She does not know that's the game that's going on, so she never really has the ability to consent to it. They've never done this before. He has not explained any of it to her. There are no real rules that are discussed. So she doesn't know what's going on until like she is begging and pleading for him to stop. At one point, she straight up says, this is not love, it's revenge, because he's mad at her and he's taking it out on her. With this denial game that she did not consent to, she did not know was going to happen, she has never experienced before, she was not eased into, and he just started this. Also, understand that this happened less than 24 hours after her stalker broke into the home and was going to kidnap her. So all of this is going on, and she safe words in this situation. And the quote-unquote aftercare is immediately Christian Grey asking for her to forgive him. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And it is about him and how he feels and what he's going through. And it is not about her. At no point is it about her. It's quite literally not about her at all. If you safe word in this kind of scenario, you need aftercare. And that aftercare has to be about you. You have to be coddled. Like, that is just like basics 101. Like, even in a non-kinky relationship, I think everyone should have safe words, period. I think vanilla couples should have safe words because something could happen, you could get triggered, and everything needs to stop. And a safe word is a way to make sure that that stops. And I think that all couples should have them. And in that moment, everything should stop. And you should comfort that partner and make sure that partner is okay. Your first question, it should either be, are you okay? What do you need from me? What can I do? Like, those should be your first questions, not, do you forgive me? I'm so sorry. I got ahead of myself. Your response shouldn't be no, which he does say. Now, he's saying no like, oh no, I took it too far, which that shouldn't. These scenes should be agreed upon. They should be spoken about. You should have an understanding of what's allowed and what's not allowed. Anna has no understanding of any of these things. And you should never ever go into them in a state where you could get carried away that could harm your partner. Like, that's like emotionally carried away. You should never go into these things in anger either. Like, that's kind of 101, right? So I'm 50% in. Kate and Elliot, if you don't remember who Kate is, do you remember who Elliot is? Yeah, I know. Kate is Anna's best friend. Elliot is Christian's brother. They're now engaged. Hooray, I guess. But that's where we're at. I really need to finish this book. I'm really miserable right now, honestly, reading this, because it's literally just a domestic abuse book, glorified as romantic eroticism, and it is none of those things. I kind of want to watch the movies because I'm interested to see in how they flip all of this, because there's no way, I feel like there's no way that they straight up made this like a not, like, how did they make this not a domestic abuse story? Because it is. This is like a warning to women everywhere about like what kind of partner you should run fucking far away from. It's fucking wild. This shit's crazy. I'm gonna have to put major trigger warnings all over this fucking video because this is literally just a domestic violence book, like a domestic abuse book. This shit's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. Christ. It is 8:30 on Saturday night. I need to finish this book. I have like 100 pages left and I need to finish this fucking book. So I'm going to be reading it and finishing it, and I'm not updating you all until I finish it. But I thought it could be fun if I watched the movie at this of the first book, 50 Shades of Grey, while reading this last book, because I've never seen the movies, and I have to believe in my heart that they do a better job of writing and plot, because they made 3 movies and it like launched a white woman's career. I have to believe that they're better than the books. So I am going to replace the battery in this camera, and then we are going to react. We're gonna read for an hour, and it's gonna be a rough time, folks, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna get through it for sure. I'm not looking forward to this, but yeah. All right, let me go get a different battery and get this going. Who says that? Also, your first birthday with her as a person? That's crazy. You want me to believe this white man with no lips is... They played this in theaters? And they want to censor media now? Okay. She's a virgin in the movie too? No. No, ma'am. Waiting. She's been waiting. For what? Swear to God, this man, he's like, I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you, everything, every 2 fucking seconds. I'm good at you, get a fucking hobby. Beating your girlfriends doesn't count as one. Hi, hello, I've finished it. All 3 of these fucking books. It took me 6 hours and 44 minutes, and I did it. It's done. I don't have to think about these books anymore. I'm gonna do this update, and then I'm going to put it in the video, and then I'm gonna upload the video, and then I'm not gonna think about this shit anymore, because this was the most frustrating thing I've ever read. The important notes here that I have, I don't even need to talk about the last book. It was bad. It was bad. It ended badly. I watched 1.5 movies. bad. They do match up to the books pretty closely, at least in the first 1.5 movie. I cannot speak to the other half of movie 2 and movie 3 as I did not watch it. But some important takeaways to this series and how I feel. And I feel like I need to give the disclaimer that I am not pro book banning, but I am pro banning 50 Shades of Grey. Take that how you will. With that being said, let me get into the nitty gritty of this. I know this video is hella long, so at this point you guys are like, Andy, what else is there to say? This is really just the summary, right? So I think that if these books were suggested today, and these movies were suggested today, they would not be published, the movies would not be made, none of this would proceed as they did in 2011. I think the only reason that these books got published in 2011 and got the recognition and whatever, and the hype that it did, I think that only happened because at that time, spicy books, erotic books, weren't really in popular circulation too much, and BDSM, kink level books also weren't in popular circulation at that point. I think that it kind of opened people's eyes to it as a concept, while not in the best way. I think that it did present it to people in a consumable way that they had never expected before. If this was presented today, though, people would recognize it for what it is, which is just the romanticization of a domestic abuse relationship framed as a kink relationship when it is not. And there are really distinct differences between BDSM and domestic violence, consent being a really important part of that. And I think that because we are more critical thinkers, I would hope anyway. I don't know, Book Talk might read these books and think they're great. I don't fucking know, man. I don't go on that side of the internet. They scare me. I think that we would have issue with these books and they would not get published. I also think it's important to note that in the last book, in the epilogue, it talks about Anna being pregnant with her second child, and she even makes the statement to her child, like something about the dad being in a silly, goofy mood, and that being better than him being angry. And I think that if you are living your life like that, to the point that you are telling your children that you are in an abusive relationship. And if you are have been with a partner for years and you are still basing so many of your decisions and your reactions and your words on whether or not it will make your partner angry, because you are genuinely afraid of their reaction to it, then you are most likely in an abusive situation and should leave if you can. I think that when I read this initially, I was already in an abusive situation and did not recognize that I was in an abusive situation, and it fed into that. I think that if you read this with having either no experience or education on domestic violence, or if you read it and are currently in a domestic violence situation, this might affect your mindset on those relationships in a negative way, in that like you might assume that BDSM and domestic violence are the same, or that the way that this domestic violence is handled is BDSM when it is not, that kind of thing. And I have a lot of grievances with that. I think that it's really, really damaging, especially to young people, and I wish I had never read it. I wish that at age 17 I'd never been exposed to these books. I wish I'd never purchased them or read them, because I do think that they shaped a lot of things about the way that I looked at those kinds of relationships. Obviously, I know better now. It has been over 10 years since I read the books, but I do think that it's a really negative book, and I don't think that it handles trauma well. I don't think that it handles relationships well. I don't think that it handles romance well. I don't think that it handles the concept of therapy or birth control well. I just have a lot of issues with the way that it handles a lot of topics, and it was honestly one of the worst things that I've ever read. I can blatantly say that this series is hands down one of the worst things I've ever read. And I've read some pretty terrible books, and these are hands down the worst ones I've ever read. So that's my, you know, official final review. I think collectively, if I put all 3 scores from Compile together, they'd still only have like 1.5 stars. All 3 of them together, 1.5 stars. Each of them I did rate all, the first and second one I rated 1 star, and then the third one I rated a 1/2 star, because there is just so much of it that is just blatant abuse that is being marketed as, oh, Christian's just like, protective. And he just doesn't want anything to happen to Anna. And that's why he literally yells about wanting to beat the fuck out of her. No, sorry, that's domestic violence, so that's not how any of that should be handled. So yeah, it feels like really weird closing this video out in the way that I normally would close a video out, but yep, I guess I'm going to. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I post videos 3 times a month, well, 6 times a month on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every single week except for the first week of the month. I have some Clear Your Shit stuff coming out that I'm excited about, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. And if you did not enjoy this video, I'm sorry, I don't want suggestions on this one. This one sucked. This sucked to do, but here we are. Yeah, I'm gonna edit this footage now and then wipe my hands of this nonsense, because I'm done. I'm over it. Yep. Alright. Bye, y'all. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves, like not reading 50 Shades of Grey. Bye!